Hey everyone, Alicia here from Stretch It app, and in today's episode of Stretch It Fundamentals, we are covering Pigeon Pose. Pigeon Pose can be quite helpful for several things. If you lift and you have tight hips, not only will you be able to aid in your recovery, but also work in a larger range of motion that will lead to better strength gains. If you sit a lot and you find that your hips are super tight, Pigeon Pose can help alleviate some of that pain and tightness. It's also really great for down-regulating the body. If you have trouble sleeping or you need to distress, it's a great way to not only stretch your hips, but also be in the position for a bit to work on your breathing. You can enter Pigeon Pose in several ways. I find the most accessible way is to maybe provide a little bit of height. So grab 2 blocks, choose whatever side knee you wish to go forward with, bring it forward. Now, some people might have to stay high. You can place a block underneath that hip and then lift the chest up. If you want to, you can place the blocks under your elbows here and create more lift. If you find that this is hurting your knee, know that you can keep your heel as close to your hip as you see appropriate, because the further out you press your heel, the more intense the stretch will become. And if your hips are not quite ready for this range of motion, your knee will get the brunt of it, and then it will start to be painful. So again, lift your hips as high as possible, as appropriate. Bring your heel in closer if you need it. You could flex your ankle once you found that angle, and back thigh remains down. Try not to roll to the side, and if you need to work even higher, make that adjustment. The first mistake I see people make is to not put enough emphasis or work on the front leg. It's in an external rotation position. And if you find that your hips are not low enough in the actual pigeon pose, you can have a seat and just focus on the front leg. Whether you do it in a seated way, you can hold on to knee or foot. You could also hook the shin under your knees. If you rather take on a different variation, you can step your foot wide, bring your hips down, and gently press the thigh wide to get a little bit of space there. Mistake number 2 is not using enough props. We all have different bodies and we all have different pace in our progression. So if you feel like you need height, if my hips are super high, I'm not going to force them down because that might come. But in the meantime, use a prop. In this case, it's a block. You could also use a pillow or rolled up towel to give you height from the floor. The same goes for the upper body. If you find that trying to reach down is very uncomfortable, then know you can place a block under your elbows to bring the floor up to your arms. Mistake number 3 is propping the chest up way too high instead of staying forward. Because keep in mind, you need the extension for your back hip in order to properly target the hip flexor instead of the low spine. So even if you need to bring both blocks in front of you, and even if your front hip is doing much better, know you can still be on an angle. Put a little bit of push in your shoulders so we're not dropping and collapsing into them. Create the amount of height that you need. So again, you're not extending, but staying as neutral as you can in your spine and focusing more on your back hip extension. To help you further improve flexibility, please check out our classes on Stretch It app. The link will be down below in our description box. And if you want to see more classes like this, please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel.